I'm going to show you now how to print your final sheets. We're going to actually have two sheets on this one, so let's get to it. I have my 3D view here, and that's one thing we're going to put on a sheet. So if you scroll down into Sheets, we're going to make a new A4 and A5. We don't need the second floor reflected or the roof plan for what we're doing. So I'm going to right-click A4 and delete that one. Right-click A5 and delete that one. And that way it'll place a new one in there. Then if I right-click Sheets, I can add a new one. And we're going to make this a 11 by 17 horizontal. It's going to show things a little bit better. So it looks like it put it down here on A17. Let me rename that to an A4, and this one is going to be ISO house. We're going to put an isometric view of our house on this one. And we're going to do one more. Right click, new sheet. This one also 11 by 17. And let me rename this. And we're going to call this one Lead and Elevation. Lead and Elevation. Those are the views that you're going to put on there. And click OK for that. So for the ISO house, let's go back up to our 3D view. And I want to have a view that really shows the best of what's going on here. And I think turning it in this orientation gives me a lot better view of what's going on. So I'm going to right click that and duplicate with detailing, and there really isn't any detailing in this, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to duplicate that view and then rename that as ISO house. And now I'm going to open up my ISO house sheet and drag it on there. And I can actually make this a little bit bigger, and 3/16 inch to a foot seems to work well. You're going to need to make sure you do a good job centering this, the actual house, the top edge of the roof and the bottom edge of the edge of the house here within this page, because it's going to cut off a little bit of the sides, and I'm going to show you that later. Then next, make sure that you let's click on the outside of this. Make sure that your name is here. And that it should say ISO house because that's what you named it over there. So make sure your name is printed in here. So that sheet is done. Now let's get ready for our next sheets. To do that, we need to go into the north elevation and, oops, I'm sorry, section view. Now let's get ready for our second sheet. So to do that, we need to go into our section view. And right here you can see a section view, but it does not show my footings on this. So I need to adjust this crop box to be able to show those. So if I click down here to height, well actually the crop region is already showing, so that's a good thing. So let me click that. I'm going to drag that down, and that shows my footing in place. It also shows my this slab that I have that it's either, you could call it the prepared gravel. I think it's defined as concrete, but ours actually would not be a concrete slab down here. We have stripped footings and a foundation wall. But what you'll notice too is that I don't have fine detail on this, and I have coarse lines. Make sure you change that. So I'm going to go to View, do Thin Lines, and change my detail to Fine. I need to be able to see all of these details, and specifically the insulation on each side of the foundation wall, that the foundation wall itself, the concrete part, lines up with the outside edge here, and your footing. And then it will also show the slope part of your grade. So make sure that it's wide enough that you can actually see the grade sloping out. So that's good enough. I can see that there. And you can also see there's a little bit of a gap here. That's not a problem. That would all be backfilled in. It's just the way that the program works. So I'm going to hide that crop region. That looks pretty good now. And I'm going to go into first floor. And what I need to do in the first floor is right click it, duplicate this with detailing, because you can only put one view of one of these on a sheet, and since first floor is already on another sheet, I need to have a copy of it. So I'm just going to leave it called first floor copy 1. That is just fine. Now let's go into lead and elevation, and I'm going to put in first floor copy 1. And that looks like a good placement for that. And then I'm going to put in the section view. And I think I already have my section view somewhere else, so I'm going to have to duplicate this also. Duplicate with detailing. Section 1, copy 1, that's fine name. And let's drag that in as well. And let me kind of slide it over and move it up so that I can see that information there. This one looks like I might want to shrink it down a little bit, so you may want to sort of play with that. Yeah, that shows me a little bit better what's going on, so that you can see everything in your sheet. So the last thing you need to do, and I'm going to slide this over so I can center it a little bit better here, is export these. So we're going to go to Export, Images, and we want to do Selected Sheets. I'm going to select my ISO house and lead. Click OK. We don't need to save it for future sessions. We're going to have this set to zoom. It's defaulted to fit to. Make sure this says 100, and make sure the raster image quality is set to 300. You have to change all of those. They're not default. Last, make sure you change your location. Save this into your drive so that you know that you can access it. So please make sure you save it, and once you do, then you're going to open them up. And I've already saved mine. I'm going to show you what it looks like opened. When I open this up, you can see it actually did crop a little bit of these things off. So that's an important thing for you to know. It's actually going to crop off when you print it right about to the middle of this A in Autodesk, and right about to the middle of the 1 here, that letter after the A, number after the A here. So you're not going to get this section and this section because we're printing on smaller paper. It's actually an 8.5 by 11 instead of 11 by 17. So make sure that you do a view of this before you print. Print both of them out and then hand them in to me, and then you're all done.